Hey, so hi everyone, and thank you for joining another Foreman community demo. I'm Nafar, I'm an active developer within the Foreman project, and I'll be hosting the demo today. And as usual, we have some updates to share with you and some new things we've been working on. For any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us on the Foreman group chat on Metrics, or during the demo, you can also use the chat here on Google Meet. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. We have 4 topics and 1 update from Docs team. Yeah, so I guess we can start. Pavan, you're the first one with container content UI.
Yeah, thank you. So, hello everyone. So today I'll be demoing on the new container content UI. Let me share my screen. Yes. Yeah. So we now have a new UI for the container images, like a unified UI for both synced container images and booted container images. So right now we currently have it under lab features. So the booted container images is exactly same as we had previously, like under booted container images, the exact same thing we have included in the under the booted tab. And coming to the sync container images, so this basically displays all the container images that have been synced. For example, right now I have 2 of my Flatpak repositories synced. So this would display all the details with respect to the container images which have been synced. So basically, we'll have a table which provides us information with respect to the tag, manifest digest, type, the product to which the repository has been synced into, and the labels and annotations, which provides us with the metadata. So as we can see, we have the parent digest, which is of the type list because it contains many child manifest digests with its own images. So if we click on see child manifest, we would be able to we'd be able to see the child manifest. So and when we click on view here, we would be able to see the labels and annotations associated specifically to that particular child manifest. So this basically explains us, gives us information about the metadata of the image, that is the SHA-256 hash and all the other architecture information, etc. And once we click on any of the manifests, so it gives us the details about that particular manifest. For example, the name, the repository, and all the other information. For example, it also gives us information about the labels which are available, which we previously saw under the model. The same information is provided here. So this is essentially like a details page which explains clearly about the details, or rather the information about that particular manifest. So yeah, that's it, I guess, for the demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavan. Yeah, and I don't see any questions, so we can move on to our next demo. Yes, Quinn, whenever you're ready.
Oh, alrighty. Let me get my screen shared. There it goes. Hi, everyone. I'm Quinn. I'm a developer on Catella. Today, we're going to be talking about the changes to the incremental content exports. We've changed some of the required fields for the API and for Hammer, specifically on the incremental exports. So today, we're discussing these changes in Catella 4.18.1 Plus. The changes were intended to simplify simplify the way that incremental exports worked. Before, it was pretty confusing what the incremental export would be based on, and some things around format, like what type of the export would be exported, were a little unclear based on the parameters we were passing in. These changes also allow power users to have an easier time to set specifically where the incremental export will be exporting from within Kitello. So here's the broad overview of the changes. There are 3 types of content exports that you can do inside of Kitello. You can export the library, you can export a content view version, or a repository. And all 3 of these are changing as of Kitello 4.18.1. Before, we required you to pass a format flag, -- format, if the format didn't match what your default export format setting was in Foreman settings. So the default was importable, I believe. So if you wanted to export as syncable, you needed to always pass the -- format syncable flag, and the flag was optional if you were exporting with the default format. Additionally, incremental exports followed the same logic, where you don't have to pass the flag if it matches the setting, and you do have to pass the flag if it doesn't. And this is the big one. Parent exports were determined from the most recent export on the object, regardless of any parents that you supplied with the -- from history ID flag. So that was an issue for a lot of users because they couldn't directly set what the parent would be. It would just always take the newest one that matched the name. So we've decided to fix that with this right column, which is the new behavior. So format flag is still optional for the complete exports, same as before. But for incremental exports, format flags handled more like a check, where you don't have to pass the format flag as long as it can determine what the parent is from other context. It'll just automatically match the format. So for example, if it determines a parent was exported as syncable, it'll do the incremental export as syncable too. Big changes in how we determine the parent. So we've moved a lot of the export type determinations from the format flag to the parent. And I have another slide here to show how the parent's determined. So this from history ID flag, we had it before. It was used for complete exports, but it, from what I could tell, was pretty much unused for the incrementals. I think. Don't quote me on that. But we had the flag, and I don't think it was really used that effectively. Now we check for an incremental export, did the user supply a from history ID flag? If yes, that makes it really easy. We can just use the library library content view version or the repository specified from this history ID as the parent. And if that had the importable format, we'll use that. If it had syncable format, we'll use that. Super easy. Next, if the user provided the format flag, we'll search, and we've always searched by name. So we continue to search by name here for an export that matches the name supplied. If the format's provided, though, let's say it's syncable, we'll only search for syncable exports. We won't look for an importable export and then try and base a syncable incremental export on that. So that clears up some of the bugs that some people were seeing. And then finally, it's pretty similar here, where we'll use both syncable and importable for searching if the format flag wasn't provided. There are some differences to this because, well, it's handled a little bit different to fix up some bugs. I don't really want to go too in detail on that, but yeah. And I think that's it. I can take any questions on this. And I apologize if my explanation wasn't the most robust, but I'm happy to answer any questions that users have. The big picture ideas are that -- format not really required for incremental exports anymore, and the parent can be set directly by the user using the from history ID flag. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Quinn. Okay, I guess we don't have any questions, so we can move on to our next demo.
All right. Thank you, Nofar. Feel free to message me if anyone has any questions on that.
Thanks, Quinn. Yeah, Ian, you're next up.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, awesome, awesome demos, y'all. This is some great stuff to show off. So mine is more of a future-looking thing, talking about transient packages for bootc, bootable containers, image mode hosts, whatever you want to call them. So for those of you following along with the latest version of Catello, if anyone has been trying bootable container bootc hosts, they have way too many names. Hopefully, you've had a decent experience with seeing some information about them, perhaps seeing across your organization what kind of images they're using, etc. And we're going to be expanding on that. For anyone using these image mode machines, if you have a whole bunch of them, and especially if you are allowing folks to translate and install packages on them, whether by the bootc user overlay or by passing the transient flag into DNF, one pain point there is that they'll be gone when you reboot. And this can be painful if you do this across the board. Perhaps you have some kind of emergency patch you have to install, or maybe there's some tooling you have to put in there. So we'll help surface these just to make it obvious that these machines have some transient packages. And so I'm sharing an RFC. We're starting development on this right now. The first pull request is actually out to expose some of this in the API that Quinn is working on. And so here's just generally what it'll look like. So we're going to have a new column in the packages section on a host. So for example, my bootc host here, the columns today, you see package, the status, installed version, and what it can upgrade to. Now, in the proposed RFC here, there's a new column here called persistence. And this matches the DNF documentation. A package is either persistent or transient. Pretty simple. Now, what's not so simple under the hood is there are a number of things going on with how the data can come over. Firstly, this isn't implemented quite yet in Subscription Manager RHSM. It's still being planned out how to send this across. We know that via OS tree APIs, we can determine if a package is transient or persistent, but it's still under development. So from the Catello side, we don't know quite yet if will we get this data for package mode hosts, for hosts that aren't bootc ones? Will we get it and will it always be persistent? We're not quite sure. So we're trying to design it to be very flexible. So if we don't get any data, the column won't show for that host. And then if we do get data, it should continue to show persistent or transient, or if there's a mix, some sort of unknown state. But there shouldn't really be a mix. That would be probably an error. Now, we also want to help users act on this. And we're trying to keep it simple to start because this is really new territory and we don't have a whole lot of feedback from people using it. So firstly, if you're using this, consider this a call for feedback. We're really trying to figure out how users want to use these image mode machines. So the idea for now, very basic. On your host page, the idea is, let's say a bunch of these are transient. You can select a whole bunch of them, and there would be some kind of new action, which is what's pictured here. generate, the naming is TBD right now, but like generate container file command or something like that. The idea just being, we just give you something to copy and paste so you can paste it into your container file, rebuild your image, and then incorporate those transient packages into your new container so you can more quickly get it out. Just a small bit of help to help you incorporate these into your next build. If people like it, the automation, we could potentially always go further. But yeah, I guess consider this a call out for comments on how you might like to see this go in the future. But for now, yeah, this is the plan for Cotillo 4.20. And yeah, hopefully I'll have a demo soon about this actually in action. But yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, I guess no feedback yet, but let's wait and see. Yeah, so we can move on to our last topic for today from the docs team. So Maximilian, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you, Nofar. I'm gonna present a small update from the documentation team, presenting work that everybody did, not just my own. And I'm gonna make it very short this time. So we worked on automated reviews. So on our upstream project on GitHub, we are improving on the veil checks. So veil is a tool to perform style checks in an automated way. And in the last 3 weeks, I believe, since the last Foreman community demo, we worked on capitalization rules or on branding. So now we have an automated way to let contributors know if they, for example, use a branded terminology for which we actually use attributes. And the other thing that Annette is mostly working on right now is enabling some kind of AI-based feedback. I think this is similar to what Cotillo does. So there's the Sorcery AI bot on GitHub that will also comment on upstream PRs. So for example, one of the, I would say, most common issues or suggestions is to avoid passive language, which happens quite easily. And then the bot will comment on this and basically allow contributors to instantly get their feedback and improve upon their contribution. And for that, I'm gonna post the Foreman and AI meetup link once again. There's a thread in the community forum. It'll happen next week, and sponsored by Red Hat and organized by Annette, mostly as far as I can tell. And there's also, I assume, some update on AI and documentation. And last but not least, some new content that we worked on and added. So there's a new procedure to create an installation medium for Oracle Linux. This will help you provision hosts in disconnected environments, which is quite neat. There are various documentation improvements around the Insights IOP feature. So, for example, we adjusted some disk space requirements and various small improvements and follow-up PRs on that. And last but not least, adding SCC accounts to Foreman Cotillo. So a colleague of mine reworked the web UI, and then we adjusted the documentation and split it by interface. So there's one procedure to do this via web UI and one via Hammer CLI. And that's all that I can share today. So back to you, Nofar.
Yeah, thanks, Maximilian. And that was all for me too. So our next demo is on December 18th. And I don't see, do we have a question? Yeah, okay, so Maximilian shared the meetup link, thank you. And so I guess if there's no more questions, I would like to thank everyone for joining and thank you for sharing your work with us today. So see you all next time.
Thank you, Nafar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.